Hi everybody, John Craig here with Performance Plus Tennis. In today's lesson we're going to cover the serve, and if you're like most tennis players, you're looking to get more power on your serve. You know, it's amazing, you can do so many things right, but if you don't get this one key thing correct on your serve, it'll absorb all the power out of your serve. So we're going to cover this key thing, show you the one thing that ultimately, regardless of your style, ball toss height, etc., if you do this, you're immediately going to get more power on your serve. So the one key thing that we need to get to is the ideal contact point, and that really relates to extension. And then at the recreational level, we see so many players who make contact below the ideal contact point on the serve, and that just depletes the serve of all the power. So where you're going to optimize your racket head speed and your power is at the natural extension that you can achieve, and we have to get that. So how do we do that? Well, the first thing we can do is do a series of drills, and one of the things I love to do is I love to have you just throw the ball, because the throwing motion and the serving motion are really very, very similar in many ways. Subtle differences, but if you can throw well, you can probably serve well. So the first thing I want you to do is just practice throwing upward and then holding your hand at the top with extension. So as you're throwing upward, you release the ball at the top and just leave your hand there. And you can see that the ball traveled pretty far, and yet I didn't follow through beyond the release point, really. I let the ball go and I held it right there and it was gone. And that's going to help you get the feeling of going up, okay? That's the first drill I want you to really get out and work on, that upward throwing motion. And when you're throwing the ball, really practice making it feel like a serve. That's really going to help quite a bit. And one of the key things you got to do, and this is another thing I see rec players do all the time, is when we're serving, we're keeping our shoulders horizontal and we're keeping our head kind of in the way. So you can see that if I have this kind of action, I'm never going to get extension. I'm never going to get up. So I've got to get my head to lean off to the left, and I've got to get my shoulder up, and now I can throw the ball upward and get my nice extension into the point of release, okay? Now, the other thing I'm doing, which is really critical, okay, is I'm reaching with my left hand. So once you've got the feel of throwing, get that left hand to stretch up, okay? No one in history has gotten to the top on contact without stretching the left hand first. Can you imagine me going like this? How weak is that, right? Even if I hold the hand up there and go up, So what the left arm does is really facilitate body movement and stretch. So what happens is I stretch the left hand up first, and then I pull it away, and I try to put my right hand right up where my left hand was, and there it goes. And if you can keep practicing that skill, that's going to help develop the motion where you're going to naturally develop more extension into contact. Next key is to get the ball placed in a position where you can make contact at the extension. And that's the tricky part for everyone. Everyone has struggled with the ball placement, myself included, but we've got to get the ball up in the air so that we can get to the contact point. Okay, it's got to get up there so that I feel that I can reach up and get up to the contact point. So even in that particular occasion, it took me the third toss before I actually really liked the placement of my ball. So that's probably one of the biggest things that recreational players do, is we play balls that we shouldn't play. So how do we practice? Well, I'm going to practice right here, but I already know I'm not going to play the ball. But I'm going to practice a skill of placing the ball up, stretching my left hand up, and then sitting in my balance. And I clearly knew that that ball was not playable. It was neither high enough, and certainly it was off to the right somewhere. And I used my left hand as a guide to say, is that ball in the area where I want to play it? Okay, it's going to help me. It's the only thing up here in the free space that I can refer to that gives me some idea as to whether the ball is in the right area or not. So I use my left hand to place, stretch, and show. Okay? So I keep going, and I'm still not going to play the ball, but I'm going to work on getting the ball up. Oh, I could have played that one for sure, right? Maybe a little off on that one. Okay? Reset, do my routine again. Place the ball. Playable. If there's anything that you can practice on your serve the most, it's this here, okay, this movement here. And I have my students I give them homework. And I often ask my students how much homework they do, and they usually say, oh, I have an hour a night of this and half hour of that. And I say, give me 5 minutes. Give me 5 minutes and do this every 10 seconds. So if I do my routine, we start the clock, and I place the ball and go to my trophy balance position, that's one. And then I go get the ball and I do it again. And let's suppose the ball doesn't come back to my hand or is not playable. Okay, I still sit in the balance. Could have played that one. That's 2. So in 5 minutes, how many times can you do that? In 10-second intervals, you can do it 30 times. So if you do that 30 times a day for 30 days, that's 900. And if you've got some guidance from a coach, myself or another coach locally that's helping you, after you've done this 30 days and you've done this 900 times, you should start to feel pretty confident that you can place the ball right where you want to. It's so important that you get that feel of placing the ball right up in that area, okay? Because that's your gateway, that's your passage, that's your doorway to getting to the contact point. So work on this. Do your 5 minutes of homework every day. Practice this until you really feel like you can place the ball right where you want it every single time. And that's really going to help you get to the contact point and achieve your ultimate power on your serve. And a simple drill you can do after you've worked on the throwing and extending and the ball placement, you've done this and you've done this. Now place the ball up and try to just play the ball away at the top and don't worry about following through. Just feel like you go up to contact and hold it there and just feel yourself get to that contact point. Just touch the ball away. You're not trying to hit it hard. You're just trying to say, I'm going to get to contact at that extension and feel that and hold it there. And then after you get the feel of that, you can start to relax and release and follow through on your serve. Thank you so much for watching today's lesson, and I hope you'll take these concepts of the court, work on them, and get to that ideal contact point, which is ultimately the determining factor whether you can achieve your full power on your serve. Work on this ball placement. Do the 5 minutes a day. It's really going to help you. Please give us a like, subscribe to the channel if you've not done so already, and leave your comments down below. I'll always respond to your comments. Thanks for watching today's video, and we'll see you in the next lesson.